Fresh Arts International presents Fresh Talk, conversations about creativity in the 21st century. I'm Cathy Byrd, and today I'm in Austin, Texas, with Tolly Moseley. Tolly works as a book publicist by day and a blogger by night, and she writes about Austin's creative culture on her site, austineavesdropper.com. She is also a passionate aerial silk dancer, and she has a big, beautiful blue swath of silk hanging from a tree behind her back door at home, which I thought was quite beautiful when I saw it. Earlier this year, she started hosting a webisode series called Austin Eavesdropper TV, in which she interviews quirky characters and shares insider tips about Austin. Tolly, it seems to me that your entire life is what I would call a curatorial project, because there is creative content in everything that you spend your time on, and I think that's exceptional. Tell me about how you achieve this multiple level cross-platform practice. How do you do it?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me as a guest on Fresh Art International, Cathy. Really appreciate being here. Austin Eavesdropper grew out of a project I was doing in California. When I went to grad school, I knew right away that academia and the ivory tower wasn't for me, but I did know that writing was. So I started working for a local city magazine in Sacramento, and that kind of trained my ear to look for interesting, city stories. So when I moved back home to Austin, I started freelancing for a variety of magazines here in town, and that was also the time I started Austin Eavesdropper. This was around 2007. At the time, I was 25, so when I started the blog, it was just kind of a drinking blog for me, where I would post where, this band was playing at what venue and this DJ was playing at this club. But as I calmed down, the blog calmed down, and I had had that good training from that city magazine to keep my ears open for interesting stories. So while I was freelance writing, I started talking to chefs, to artists, to musicians, and that bled onto the blog also. So now Austin Eavesdropper is half creatives in Austin, Texas, and giving people insight onto how they create their work, and half stories from my life. The webisode series and the aerial silk dancing actually rose up organically in response to all that computer time, because I was blogging, and I also, for my day job, I'm a book publicist too, so it's a lot of time being on the computer. And while I love what I do, I am a very sensitive person to gadgets and computers and being on the internet all the time, so I began craving more offline hobbies. So my husband had the idea for me to create a little show about interviewing people here in town, and I called a good friend of mine, Carlos Funes, who is an accomplished filmmaker. He's actually in New York right now being the assistant director for a film, and asked if he'd like to do this show for me, and he said yes, he would. So we put together a little crew and started reaching out to people for interviews. Lately, we've been interviewing a naked Matthew McConaughey puppet on his take on Austin culture too, so that's been a lot of fun. And I started doing aerial silks in 2011. Every year I try to pick a New Year's word instead of a New Year's resolution. In 2011, my word was openness. So aerial silks is something that I had always wanted to try. I thought, well, you know what, I'm just going to go to one class, see what it's like. I have a dance background and a yoga background. And then after that first class, I started going to another and another and another. And a year and a half later, I'm at the studio at least 3 times a week. I've got a silk in my backyard. I've performed at clubs around town. I shot a music video recently doing aerial silks and just fell in love with it. So the offline hobbies really rose up in response to my blogging, and now I hope that I've struck a healthy balance.
As the Austin Eavesdropper, what do you consider your role in the cultural community?
Yeah, I really think of myself as a liaison between people interested in art and people who are producing the art. So seeking out those stories that maybe haven't gotten a lot of media coverage yet in large outlets, and magazines here in town or the local newspaper here in town and featuring them in some way. So we do a lot of Q&As with people on the site. We do video interviews on the site also. I also just like to kind of take my camera around place to place and take pictures of a really beautiful space. It could be a restaurant, it could be a show, it could be artwork, and it could be a piece of clothing, and try to depict what that's like in the moment, and show people how I'm seeing it. And since I've got, pretty healthy adoration of Austin, there's no shortage of content for the blog. So I try to give people a little taste of what it's like to live here. A lot of times people moving to Austin or thinking about moving to Austin will write me and say they've been reading my blog to get a sense of what it's like here in Austin. And that's really what I want to show off. We've got a lot of, Austin is a budding city, it's a diverse city. There are economic issues here, there are job opportunities issues here, there are gentrification issues here. Those are all important, I think, should be discussed for anyone thinking of moving to Austin. But my role is really trying to figure out, get the kind of artistic wavelength on my blog, and how can I take the things that I'm passionate about and interpret them for an audience that may or may not be familiar with this stuff already.
And from your webisode series, you've had some interesting opportunities recently.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We started Austin Eavesdropper TV, or AETV, just purely for fun. I wanted to start a little show. We wanted to just try it, just see what it would be like. And as a result of that, we partnered with City Search during South by Southwest this past year, to 2012, to put together kind of a top 10 hot spots in Austin for those new to the city or in town, especially for South by Southwest. That was Naked Matthew McConaughey Puppet's debut. After that, City Search really liked the video, the public really liked the video, it was a big hit, and YouTube is putting together a food channel called Hungry, youtube.com/hungry. Most of the channel is made up of instructional videos, so the Unplugged Kitchen is on there, fellow Austinites, casserole queens are on there too, and they're showing you how to make food, how to make drinks, how to make stuff on the grill for your friends. But Hungry also wanted to have a show that was more no reservations-esque, so going around and trying local food in a city, and specifically neighborhoods in certain cities. So they put together a show that highlights local eating in New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Austin, and I'm the Austin host for that. So
that's fantastic.
It's really exciting, and we got to use the crew for AETV for this show. It was really great because I was paying the guys on AETV just pocket change practically, but now we have a budget and we can have 2 cameras, not just 1 camera, and I can finally pay the guys what they deserve. We just shot the first one last weekend. I'm shooting the next one in a couple of days, and we're scouting our 3rd episode right now. It's a really great opportunity. If the shows get enough views, then the studio will renew and order more. Knock on wood for anybody listening. I hope you watch our shows a lot, so we do get to film more.
What would you do if you had the opportunity to do more?
So the focus of the show is neighborhood eating. They're 4 to 6 minute episodes, and they want us to depict in a short amount of time. You're on a stretch of free city blocks. Where can I go get a cup of coffee? Where can I go get an excellent panini? Where can I go get barbecue? Where can I go get a good local draft beer? Our focus right now is kind of on the new, the buzzy a little bit, but I've got one show that I taped in Hyde Park, which is not about new and buzzy. It's more storytelling. It's more institutional Austin. Our episodes right now are on businesses that have been open for just a short time, but I would really love to have an emphasis on food trailers and people on the east side who've been around, like the Victory Grill. I'm dying to shoot an episode at the Victory Grill and get the backstory on that place and how it came together. So if I had my way, I would try to take those hidden Austin stories, places that have been around for years, maybe you pass by in your car every day and don't know about, and find out what's really delicious here. How did someone found this place? Did someone take out a huge bank loan, ask their friends and family for, donations, and open it up, and by God, it survived and has been surviving for 15 years. I'm really interested in those stories of unlikely success. So right now the story's on the new, and for a very good reason. I mean, this is a national audience. It's not just an Austin audience. So if someone comes here, they want to try the hot new place. But if we get renewed, I want to try to marry those a little bit. Places that are buzzy, but places that have been around for a while, and find a human backstory to those historical institutions.
What is your vision for your own creative life in a broader sense?
Well, it's kind of ironic. My big mission is actually to help slow down the web and help people get offline more so that they can experience their community one-on-one, face-to-face, and not just hear me talking about it. So when I first started Austin Eavesdropper, these were, I guess, in kind of the early days of blogging, and the gospel, and I think still is among bloggers, is just more and more content all the time. Try to get as much traffic as possible. But I deliberately didn't turn on the traffic stats for my blog because I don't want to be pulled into that anymore. I don't want to create content just because I want X number of readers a day. I want to provide something quality, something that will really serve you, and it feels like good slow food instead of fast food. So a wonderful story, a wonderful video, and that's it. You don't have to, because I don't want people to be on their computers all the time. So Austin Eavesdropper has been a wonderful vehicle for that. These shows, same thing. But I would love to have some kind of business where I help people slow down and have meaningful experiences with their bodies, with their taste buds, with other people, where they are experiencing life offline. Before I got into all of this, I was a children's yoga teacher, and I'm currently finishing my yoga certification. So I've got a vision of combining my yoga interests and also my interest in helping people slow down and experience life unplugged that will hopefully come together in 2013. So you'll have to interview me again then too and see if I've been successful.
I look forward to that.
Just keep living, everybody. Just keep living.
Bye.
All right.
You've been listening to Fresh Talk with Tolly Moseley. Read more about Tolly and hear other podcasts in this series on freshartinternational.com.